Hi guys, so I found some really spooky things and I found some videos. Oh my god. Okay. And I've decided to show you the worst amusement park disasters. Wait, yeah, that's the one.
Like and subscribe right now. You're gonna have terrible luck for the next week. Amusement parks are the go-to places for thrill seekers around the world. Most of the time, they get just that. But things can go south real quick. Though quite rare, amusement parks have seen their fair share of mishaps over the years. And these accidents haven't just left the victims with a jaded view of these fun places. Some have ended up with severe injuries. In today's video, we'll be looking at 10 of these unfortunate events that turn the happy places into sad ones. Number 10.
Okay.
M&D's Scotland theme park, Motherwell, Scotland. M&D's theme park
That's
prided itself as having Scotland's
okay. I live in Scotland, so yeah. Let's keep
only
going.
inverted roller coaster. It was nicknamed the Tsunami, and thrill lovers rode under the track instead of the top. But as of today, the ride is scrapped from the park's attraction list following an incident in mid-2016. 5 gondolas derailed at a bend and plunged directly into the ground below. About 9 people were enjoying the ride, with a majority of them being kids. Fortunately, no one was killed in the incident, but it left several people with injuries. 9 people had to be hospitalized after the incident, with 2 cases being the most notable.
9 people's not a lot. Plus, this is really loud. It's getting my eardrums fall out or something.
One was an 11-year-old boy who had sustained grievous injuries on his hands and legs. The other was a 12-year-old boy with leg, chest, and abdominal injuries. The incident had a major effect on the park, prompting the owners to halt all outdoor rides for about a month. Of course, activity picked up after this period, but the Tsunami ride was never reopened, subsequently being dismantled early the following year. In 2019, the park was fined £65,000 after the owners pleaded guilty to flaunting health and safety guidelines. That was after an investigation found that the welding and axle metals on the doomed Tsunami were incompatible. Number 9. Six Flags Great Adventure in Safari, New Jersey, United States. The tragedy at Six Flags Great
So
Adventure in Safari
US.
is a bit unique since it didn't involve a roller coaster, but it was a horrific one anyway. On May 11th, 1984, the park's haunted castle burst into
Ooh,
flames and, in
haunted.
essence, gave the visitors a dosage of real horror. The general structure of the building made matters worse. According to a New York Times account of the incident, the castle was devoid of fire safety measures like sprinklers and smoke alarms. And to top it all off, the inside was a narrow maze of aluminum trailers that were barely lit.
Oh, Sam, my family doesn't want us to be together.
The building went ablaze. Getting out was a major problem. A few survivors recount being confused at the time the fire was breaking out about whether or not the smoke was part of the act. While some got out, others weren't so lucky. Despite firefighters being called on the scene immediately, the fire had engulfed much of the building due to, according to the police, strong winds that were blowing through the castle. After several hours of battle, the fire was brought under control and
Oh
the full
my
extent of its
gosh.
damage was revealed. 8
Oh my
people, 7 boys and a girl, had burned beyond recognition.
girl.
Number 8.
So bad.
Gulliver's World, Warrington, England. Salma Salim met her death in July 2002 in
Met her
Gulliver's World
death.
theme park. The then 15-year-old, who had Down syndrome, suffered the fate after falling about 6 meters from the Ferris wheel. According to charges against the park, Salma had wanted to ride with her mom, but an attendant refused to grant her wish on the basis that she was too big. The mom couldn't put up a good enough protest since her English wasn't as fluent. Of course, the charges were pressed against the park, but not in relation to Salma's death, since her lap bar was still securely locked after the incident. The prosecutor acknowledged that indeed the death wasn't as a result of the Gulliver's World flaunting health and safety directives. But a closer look at the facility uncovered a host of other issues that could have very well led to such an incident in the future. Number 7. Dreamland, Queensland, Australia.
Dreamland.
The Dreamland theme park offered a different kind of ride to its visitors. the Thunder River Rapids, designed to mimic natural rapids. But when tragedy struck in 2016, the park decided to let go of the whole idea of rafting. 4 people that were about 5 seconds away from finishing their ride lost their lives when the raft hit another occupied carrier and was immediately flipped by the conveyor. Some of the passengers were trapped by the carriage, while the others were flung from the vessel. There were about 6 passengers on the raft during the incident, 4 adults and 2 kids. The kids were lucky enough to wriggle free of the trap and hence survived the incident. Following the accident, Dreamland was closed off for several months pending investigation and opened again on December 10th the same year. But the rapids were closed forever out of respect for the 4 passengers who perished. Number 6. Battersea Park, London, UK. In 1951, Battersea Park hit a jackpot when it opened the Big Dipper. It was a wooden roller coaster that was a major fascination at the park's fun fair. For close to 2 decades, it brought in enough.
When they come home all bunged up, I give them Bulbasaur. The power to breathe.
People to keep the fair running. But a moment of reckoning came in 1972 when a car that was being hoisted broke loose and started rolling back towards the station. Efforts to stop it proved futile as the rollback brake failed for some reason. The back carriage derailed and came crashing through a barrier, followed by the other 2 right on top of it. This spelled doom not just to the passengers on the carriage during the mishap, but also to the fun fair. When the crashing was over, 5 children were dead and more than 10 others were injured. The Big Dipper, despite its past glory, was dismantled, and with it went the fun fair's popularity. For the next 2 years, it staggered on before finally being shut down. The park did well in erasing its dark incident from its history because there's hardly anything that can be associated with the fun fair. Number 5. Six Flags Over Georgia, Georgia, United States. Anyone would tell you that meeting a body hurtling forward at 80 kilometers an hour is not the best of ideas. LeSean Ferguson, a 17-year-old, found this out the hard way in 2008 at the Six Flags Over Georgia amusement park. He had just been on the Batman the Ride roller coaster, probably one of the best moments of his life, but it turned out to be the last. For some reason, the teenager who visited the park in the company of his church's youth group scaled 2 fences and ventured into a restricted area. It's not clear why he decided to do so, since there are 2 different